But to get into today's topic and I guess focus on the enterprise PLM and talk a little bit more about what we can do inside there. So as I said last week, we talked about the digital part and all the different bits and pieces of information that can be attached to that to help us understand the structure and the model itself, be it a single part or a structured model. What we're going to talk about today is how we can enhance some of these specific areas. So things like attributes and properties, there's a lot of intelligence that gets captured in that information, how we can make that easier to define. That makes it easier to then search and reference and find those parts to use them. We're also going to talk a little bit about manufacturing information as well. Okay, so this comes down to, again, our part definition. I'm going to go back to this diagram again. And we did talk about how we can define these different parts to represent our business objects, what we make, but that we can create different types of parts. So in our golf cart example, in our bill of materials, we have all these mechanical parts here. We've got our gear icon that represent that, but then we might have a manual that's got its own part number. It's an item that goes into the box with our golf cart, but it has completely different attributes, maybe access controls, life cycles and everything to a mechanical part like the wheel. So we can subtype and create different types of parts. Okay, so we can have a different icon, different attributes, different life cycles. Similarly, we've got a software part to capture the configuration of our drive control unit, what software build actually goes out in that particular product that we've shipped. So again, it can have a different icon, different attributes and properties and things like that. So we can do that via subtyping. And that's something we've done for a lot of customers. We can create different icons and things like that to capture those different business objects that we want to manage inside Windchill. One of the other things that we've got inside Windchill is classification to help with that as well. So classification, just to explain at a very high level, and you've probably all seen it, you go to any kind of online shopping, these screenshots are from Amazon, and you can browse through based on different classifications. So I go to Amazon, I'm saying I'm looking at electronics, and then it will show me a whole bunch of different categories that I might be interested in. Okay, so I might say I'm interested in a new TV or home cinema and video. I'll click into that. That'll then show me a different set of categories, TVs or projectors or DVRs or whatever it might be. So we can categorize these different things to help browse through them. So we can also do that in engineering, right? It's very common. You go onto an engineering supplier's site, parts and things like that you want to buy. So you might say I'm looking for fasteners and fixings. So then under that, we've got all the different types of fasteners, bolts, screws, nuts, washers, rivets, whatever it might be. And you can start drilling down through that sort of classification structure, okay? So we can do that inside Windchill as well. So Windchill has classification. It's a part of Windchill. It's been there for a long time. It allows us to set up and define a classification schema for parts as well as documents. You can do it for documents too. But the idea is to essentially, make it easy to go and find and reuse those items that you've got inside your system. So it's most commonly used for library items, right? These are the common things that engineers want to go and find and look for. So we can define that structure with those pictures and everything else. We'll have a look at that in a minute. So we can go and browse through our catalog of things. That can be items that you might be purchasing in. It might be items that you manufacture in-house, right? Maybe you make your own motors for your products, so you want to put them into your library too. So we can go and do all that sort of stuff. There's some intelligence into this. There's things like the ability to automatically generate names for those objects that you've classified based on all of the different bits and pieces that you've chosen for that taxonomy that you've gone through. But we can go and classify these parts to make them easier to reuse, okay? The other thing that classification lets us do is also search based on that, okay? So we can search through, it adds an extra element into the searching tool. We've already touched on a little bit of searching before. We can use facets to browse through that, and I'll show you this in the demonstration shortly, okay? It's another way to basically, it's really the aim of this is to make it easier to find those items that are already in the system, so you avoid people going off and creating a new part for something that's already there. The other thing we're going to look at is supplier management. Okay, so how do we, for our part, there'll be information about approved manufacturers or vendors that you'll have. And again, that becomes very important when we're designing this product, like in terms of engineers choosing the right part, particularly based on maybe where we're going to manufacture that. So Windchill has a supplier management module that's a part of the product there that lets you manage those approved manufacturer and approved vendor lists inside Windchill. So we can go and view that information inside the BOM. You can see from the screenshot here, we can actually see the structure. We can even have Windchill show us, the supplier part numbers that are equivalent to our part numbers that we're going to use for that. So in terms of sourcing and other bits and pieces that we might want to do. Okay, so it helps with, again, defining that BOM in those earlier stages of the design process. So let's have a bit of a look at this. Just let me get logged into my Windchill here, and I'll bring that over onto the screen so you can all see that. So here's my Windchill environment, with our snowmobile that we've been looking at through these webinars. So if we go and do a search, because we've got classification set up, we've got this classification explorer option available to us. So some of you might have this in your Windchill, some of you probably won't if you don't have classification. So if we go into classification explorer, you can see here this is the structure that's been set up by our classification administrator. They've gone and added in pictures and other things for us to help us define that. So you can see the idea is we can just start browsing through this. We can type in keywords if we want to start searching for things. We can have different classification nodes. As I mentioned, we've got documents versus parts. So we could browse the tree, see what we've got under electrical. Let me just expand that a little bit more, or mechanical. But also over here in the browsing section, we've got a sort of a summary of everything as well. So we can see we've got 246 mechanical parts, and then the breakdown of where they are. So we can quickly jump into something if we want to. Maybe I'll go into my, let's go into my rivets, for example. Okay, so I've got those rivets there, and I've got these types of rivets to find inside the system. I can continue to browse further. If it gets to the lowest node, it'll just show me the list of parts, or I can just say, let's search for all of the rivets that we've got, and here's all of my rivets. Okay, not too many in the system. You can see we've got the attributes that have been defined for them. We've got some sourcing information from our supplier management stuff as well, material definition, all that kind of stuff, right? So the idea of this classification is these are all the same types of parts. They're all a mechanical part. We talked about typing before, but obviously if we go back to the, let me go to my Explorer again. The information that you'll have, or the attributes that you'll have on a bearing, will be very, very different to the attributes that you will want to define against a screw. Okay, they're still the same type of part. They'll still have the same access permissions and life cycle, but bearings, I want to know the inner and outer diameters, all that kind of stuff, the load capacity, whatever it might be. On a screw, I'm going to have my head type, my thread, nominal diameter, all that kind of stuff, right? So the idea of classification lets me, rather than having to define all these different types, I can simply say, here's a mechanical part. I'm going to classify it as a screw, which means it'll have these sets of attributes. I'm going to classify it as a nut, which means it'll have a different set of attributes. I'm going to classify it as a bearing, which will have a different set of attributes again. Okay, so that's the beauty of using classification. So I can define that as an administrator however I want. I can go into that. I can see the main attributes, like I've got material against all of them. I've got head types, diameter, whatever it might be, length, and things like that. I can use my search facets to refine that further. Maybe I'm looking for a plastic rivet. I can say I'm looking for a particular diameter. I can define a range, so it shows me all the values are there inside my system, or the length, or I can start to narrow that down, what my sourcing status is and things like that. Okay, I only got the 4 here. If I go into the details for a particular rivet, here's my my tough lock rivet. So you can see again, I've got my normal attributes that have been defined by Windchill that are there, but I've got my classification, and then the attributes that come from it being classified. Okay, so it's a push-in rivet, so it has these attributes: material, head type, diameter, material thickness, length. Okay, or for material thickness, I should say. Okay, so that's a very quick look at how we can go and look for items. One of the other things you get with classification search as well is I can actually go in here and say, let's find something similar to this classified object. Okay, so it gives me my classification attributes that are here. So I can say I'm looking for something with a diameter that's close to this, maybe within 50% diameter. okay, or a material. I can choose my different materials. If I've got any, I've gone into something that's already plastic. I can say the head type. So again, there might be different types of head. So I can start to go off and find things in the system that might be close to what this is, because I'm looking for not this specific one, but something that's sort of in the general ballpark of that, because I'm looking for design options. Okay. So that's a bit of a look at that classification search. So the administrator goes and configures that, and then users can browse through and search and find those parts to reuse them in their designs. The other part I want to talk about is again our supplier information. So I've got my approved manufacturer list, approved vendor list here. So we can see that I've got some things set up for this. So this is obviously the part number that we use here at my company. That's the part number. But depending on my sourcing context, because we can go and set up this level of detail, if I'm in America, then I'm sourcing from Acme Fasteners, and here's their part number for this. Okay, so I've got that defined inside Windchill. If I'm manufacturing in Asia Pacific, sourcing in Asia Pacific, it's still Acme, but if I'm going to Europe, then I'm sourcing this from a different vendor. Okay, so the idea is we can track that information here inside Windchill and help users see that. So again, that's been set up by an administrator. If I go to my suppliers, I can see the list of all of my suppliers that have been set up. If I go into, let's say, Moldex for that, again, I can see details about them. I can see all of the different part numbers that are being used. Not too many in this environment. I can see for that part number, where's that being used. So it shows me it's being used inside this particular PCB design, which I'd expect from Moldex part. So I can start to see all that information. So things like if, a manufacturer sends through, maybe they've had some quality information, they're sending a recall notice or whatever like that. By tracking all of that, I can easily see through my BOMs that are managed in Windchill, exactly where all these parts are being used. Okay, so that's a little very quick look at what we can do with supplier management and information inside of Windchill. One last thing I want to talk about is AI, because obviously AI is a part of Windchill. We've talked about that a little bit already, part of the intelligent product lifecycle, how we can use AI to help with that. So this is something that's coming very soon in Windchill, probably in the next month or so, you'll see it become available. This is AI parts rationalization. So you can see there's another little tab along here, duplicate part search. So this is an area that PTC's identified as the first area to apply the AI to. So they're actually utilizing some of the information from classification as well. That's possible to do. But the idea is this is a geometry-based search to find groups of parts. It bases them on how close they are to each other. So we said 100% close, and it defines these different groups that are essentially the same geometry. So the idea is we can start to evaluate those parts to work out, what's going on with them, see the differences in attributes. Geometrically, they're the same. So we can see that, someone's gone off and created these two parts separately. They've got the same information, but they're different part numbers. So we're carrying the same part twice. So the idea is we can go into Create View and compare them like we just did. And based off that, we might say, let's create a change notice to go and essentially get rid of this duplicate part that we've got inside the system that's not required anymore. Okay, so I know this is a big task for companies. I attended a talk at LiveWorks a couple of years ago from one of the librarians at Intel. They use Windchill, so obviously they got thousands and thousands of parts that they use from all over the world. And a big part of their job was to essentially go off and find all the duplicates that get created all over the world inside their library and help to reduce that down, because there's obviously the cost involved in maintaining all of those duplicate part numbers for no reason. So AI is a tool that PTCs have identified, as I said, to help with that. So I expect to see more on this soon.